Hi, I'm Mrs. S from Steps to Success Maths. In this video, we're working through simplifying ratios. We're going to start with the easiest exam question and work through to the hardest. Pause the video, have a go, and we can work through it together step by step. Simplify the ratio 15 to 35. So to simplify a ratio, we need to look for a common number, the biggest one you can think of, that goes into both 15 and 35. Well, I can spot that that's going to be 5. So I'm going to divide both sides of my ratio by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 35 divided by 5 is 7. So my ratio is 3 to 7. And then nothing divides into those, so I know I've got the simplest one. Simplify the ratio 200 to 25 to 100. So this time I've got three ratios, three numbers. I need the biggest number I can think of that goes into all of them. So I think 25 goes into every one. So I'm going to divide each one by 25. So how many 25s are in 200? Well, that's 8, 1 in 25 and 4 in 100. So I've got 8 to 1 to 4 as my ratio in its simplest form. Write down the ratio of 225 centimetres to 75 centimetres. Give your answer in its simplest form. So they're both in centimetres, so I can just write 225 and then the ratio colon, the double dot, to 75. Now I need to divide them. What's the biggest number that goes into both of these? So 75 actually does. 75 goes into 225 3 times, and it goes into 75 just once. So I've got 3 to 1 as the ratio in its simplest form. Write the ratio 7.5 to 2.5 in the form n to 1. So this time is slightly different because it's telling us how it wants it to look. So you've got your ratio 7.5 and 2.5 and you want it to be something to 1. So how do you go from 2.5 to 1? What do you have to divide by? Well, you divide it by 2.5. So you need to do that to the other number in the ratio. 7.5 divided by 2.5, and that's 3. So our ratio is 3 to 1. Write the ratio 8 to 20 in the form 1 to n. So 8 to 20 and then underneath 1 to and leave it blank. How do you get from the 8 to the 1? Well, you need to divide by 8. So we need to do 20 divided by 8. So 8 goes into 20, 8, 16, so that's 2, and then there'd be 4 left over, and 4 out of 8 is a half, so 2.5, 1 to 2.5. There are some counters in a bag. 1/6 of the counters are red. The rest of the counters are green. Write the ratio of the number of red counters to the number of green counters. Give your answer in the form 1 to n. When you get a question with quite a lot of information like this, it's really important that you read it carefully and you pick out the information that you need, always making sure that you answer the question that's being asked. So there are some counters in a bag and 1/6 of the counters are red and the rest are green. So you've only got two colours, red and green. You need to write the ratio of the number of red to the number of green. So it needs to be red to green. And then at the end, we need it in the form of 1 to n. So 1 to question mark at the moment, blank. So because we don't have any numbers and it's fractions, what you could do is you could pick a number of counters. And I'm going to pick something really easy. If I'm talking about sixths, I'm going to have 6 counters because 1/6 of 6 would be 1. So if I had 6 counters, 1/6 would be red, and 1/6 of 6 is 1. So I've got 1 red counter, and the rest are green. So remember, I had 6, 1 was red, so 5 must be green. So I've got my ratio 1 to 5, and that is in the form 1 to n, where the n is 5. So 1 to 5. There are only red, blue and green pens in a box. There are 4 times as many blue pens as green pens. There are twice as many green pens as red pens. Write down the ratio of red pens to blue pens to green pens. So again, a lot of information to pick out. That last line says, write down the ratio of red to blue to green pens. So red to blue to green. And now I need to pick out from the other lines the pieces of information I need. The first one told me that there are red, blue and green. Well, I know that. The second line says there are 4 times as many blue as green, and there are twice as many green as red. So if I've said that there was 1 red pen, I know there's twice as many greens, so then there'd be 2 green pens. And the line above says there are 4 times as many blue as green. Well, we've said that now green is 2, and 4 times 2 is 8, so there must be 8 blue pens. So my ratio is 1 to 8 to 2. There are 120 students at a school disco. Half of the students are in Year 7. The number of Year 7 students at the disco is 3 times the number of Year 9 students. The rest of the students are Year 8. The number of Year 8 students to the number of Year 9 students is equal to n to 1. Work out the value of n. Okay, so this one does feel tricky. There is a lot going on. We know from the first line there are 120 students. Half of the students are in Year 7. So half of 120 is 60. So I know that there are 60 Year 7 students. The number of Year 7 students at the disco is 3 times the number of Year 9 students. So if I divide the number of Year 7 by 3, so 60 divided by 3, I get 20. So there are 20 Year 9 students, and the rest are Year 8. So I've got 60 Year 7, 20 Year 9, and a total of 120. So that must leave me with 40 in Year 8. Now I'm going to write this as a ratio. So I've got 60 to 40 to 20, Year 7, Year 8, Year 9. Now I'm only interested in working out the number of Year 8 students to the number of Year 9 students. So I'm going to write that here, Year 8 to Year 9, 40 to 20. And I want it in the form n to 1. So I'm going to leave a gap and then to 1. So to get from 20 to 1, I need to divide it by 20. I need to do it to the other side. 40 divided by 20 is 2. So the value of n is just 2. The ratio is 2 to 1, but the value of n is 2. Ratio comes up a lot on your exam, so you need to get some extra practice. There's a free worksheet with full worked solutions linked. Be sure not to miss any more of my videos or worksheets by clicking subscribe.